This is a massive LEGO Halo Reach display built by over 20 builders. You've got action everywhere here. You've got beach landing down here as the Covenant is coming in and attacking the city. This city is not going to last very long. There are explosions all over the place. The Covenant has gotten into all of these different buildings here. They're trying to evacuate the civilians, as many as possible, from some of the large skyscrapers here, but the Covenant are coming in. You can see explosions and smoke already rising from the skyscraper. Massive Covenant ship is shooting down here and starting to blow up the city, and you've got all of these ODSTs in there kind of trying to fight back against the Covenant, doing their very best to push them back, but it looks like a failing effort. More smoke coming out. Then the monorail station over here also trying to evacuate civilians. You've got this large spaceship here trying to get people out of the way of the Covenant, and then this large island figure, which is really, really fantastic. This fixture here. We've got the turret and then more of the vehicles trying to take out the Covenant. So incredible work to all the builders involved here. Let's hear more from them.
This display is called Halo Reach, the Fall of New Alexandria. This build has 23 kilometers in it. And we're going to take a look through each of the different sections. We've got beach, vehicles, battles, explosions, all sorts of action happening throughout it.
Tell us what we've got here. Take us through the figures.
Hi, I'm Uncle Sammy Poo, and I was responsible for the minifigures and Covenant. I helped design a lot of the Covenant with some assistance from Ben Brickson, who you just talked to. Yeah, I was one of the responsibilities I had was posing the minifigures. Not all of them. It would be quite a challenge to do that for such a large build like this, but I was responsible for how the figures would look. Like I had a direction for what the figures looked like, and what the Covenant would look like. One of the things that with the human figures is I wanted to showcase a large, diverse cast of humans because it'd be kind of boring to just show one group of people, right? Humanity's a pretty big species. And so is the Covenant. The Covenant is comprised of many species, in a caste system. And so it took months to design a lot of the Covenant. The toughest ones to design for are the jackals, the little guys with the shields. They are very slim, very compact. They are a pain in the butt, if you excuse my French. But it was a lot of fun. I also helped out Victor with designing the UNSC Army. Victor, who is a part of Eclipse Graphics and Brick Warriors, graciously sponsored us yet again.
A lot of the really neat customs around the display come from them.
Yes. The armor he did a fantastic job with. And just in time, too, for the new Halo game, which features Reach armor for the troopers or Marines.
Well, thank you so much for your contribution here. We'll keep going on to our next display. If you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey, I'm Riley, known as Riley Builds Bricks on the internet, and we'll start off with this section-by-section analysis, you could say, of the build. My section is this beach here, starting with the Covenant drop pod, where a lot of Sammy's Covenant builds are coming out. This was an invasion, so we wanted to show that direct clash with the UNSC troopers that we have here. You can see a mongoose being blown up in the midst of the action, another trying to get away, and plenty of conflict happening on that beach as we start to get up on the actual city structures. And this is a bit of a staging area where you can really see how the UNSC is preparing to fight against the invading aliens. We've got injuries down on the interior. We've got up top a Scythe anti-aircraft turret. You'll see a few of those that I designed throughout the build, pointing right up at that gigantic Corvette. Really what we wanted to convey is that this is a battle that the UNSC is losing despite their best efforts. So as they're gearing up, as they're getting ready to go, you got to remember that this is a losing battle for them. But it was really fun to make this little section here.
Yeah, fantastic work. One of the things I love here is just kind of the how lifelike and how much action there is. So the explosions, even the tire tread tracks in there. So I know we'll see a lot more of that kind of stuff later on, but I already love the look we're getting at this. So great work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we'll bring in our next contributor. If you want to introduce yourself and then take us through your section.
Sure, thanks. Hey everyone, I'm Peter, Spartan Bricks Online. I contributed the Falcons to this build, as well as one of the towers that we'll get into talking about later. But we're just going to move along the beachway this way so as we continue to the next builders. I'm just going to talk about Falcons a little bit here. There's 5 total in the build. 4 are still operating, and then 1 is crashed on the beach. So you've got this formation flight here of 2 Falcons coming down the river. They've just made it underneath Tanner's Boardwalk section and are coming to support the UNSC troops that are losing on the beach line here. They noticed you got a crashed Falcon on the beach here, so they're sending in reinforcements onto the beach line to help out the losing battle here. Moving across the river from the crashed ship here that one of our other awesome builders, Alec, did, you can see another example of the UNSC losing this fight. We'll move on a little bit further. The crash site here, one of the Falcons got shot down by probably the Covenant, the blue vehicle over there, the Covenant Wraith. And one of our other builders, Vim Distract, who we'll talk a little bit soon, set up a really nice crashing profile for the Falcon coming on the beach line.
Take us through a little more detail on the movement and lights you've incorporated here, because there's so much action in a pretty small frame there.
Yeah, absolutely. So each Falcon has individual, it's all compartmentalized with its own lights. It's connected into the greater hub of the whole system for power, so it doesn't need a battery box. And each Falcon also has, it doesn't have its own motor within it, but it has a single drivetrain that's connected out to each nacelle, and so the prop rotors are able to rotate on their own just with power applied to them. So each of the 4 Falcons that are moving is part of the same circuit that's kind of daisy-chained with some 9-volt connectors underneath the table. So it's easy to unplug the Falcon real quick, pull it off, do some modifications if we need to. It makes it kind of a nice plug-and-play system. And there'll be instructions coming out for these at some point later this summer.
Okay, fantastic work. Thank you so much.
Thanks. We'll move on to the next builder, Chloe.
Hello, I'm Chloe, aka PookieMox or Boz.Pookie on Instagram. I'm responsible for this section right here, where the camera's pointing right now. We see a shade turret being hit by a Spartan laser, with a troop being led by a custom Spartan that I did. They're being flanked by some elites. The big challenge with this one was figuring out how to go from that slanted side into a vertical post. So I used tiles along with a long, almost ski pole-like bar and Technic element to create a sort of helix to make that transition from slanted to vertical. Planter boxes help to cover up the ugliness of the geometry. And I use panels to great effect where these sections are meeting up on their sides.
Yeah, and I love the effect of the large laser kind of shooting out there. So how did you do that?
Great question. It's a piece that I got from, I think, Brick Stuff is the vendor. And it is a sort of filament with a 3M sticky backing, but it fits within a bar. And the cool thing about it is that you can sort of curve it if you want to do a 50s diner, that sort of deal, or an underglow for a car. And in this, usage of it, we can see the reflection on the shiny elements. To be economical, I used road plates for most of the platform, which helped because I didn't have to figure out how to do a 32 by 32 with plates and then tile on top of it.
Excellent work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bringing in our next builder here.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Evan. I go by Iterative Bricks on Instagram and Flickr. I built this skyscraper here, and I guess before I talk about my specific skyscraper, at least for the few skyscrapers in the build overall, we had an idea to kind of replicate the aesthetics of the city of New Alexandria, but not replicate an exact skyscraper itself. And so we really got to be kind of creative with our design choices, which was, really fun for me. So for my skyscraper, I really like some of the elements of these, like this red kind of arch almost around some of the buildings and some of these more angled surfaces that you see in the white areas. And so it was really fun to try to almost puzzle piece the different elements of buildings together that I saw in the actual game. And then there's some fun other like challenges. I gotta work out, which I had this like blank white wall section which looked a little off, and then Ben actually came up with this design for the logo of the city, and I was like, oh, perfect, that's exactly what's going there. But overall it was a blast, like lighting it up and figuring out how the elements went together, and then doing final touches like the little antennas on top, and the other side when you go around there, the explosions and some of the little details like that. So yeah.
No, it looks fantastic, and I love that very interesting like geometric logo shape that's kind of around the city here. That's really neat.
Yeah, I think it was a wonderful little piece of the build that Ben came up with. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, I think we'll move on to...
Okay.
Hi, I'm David Einza, or Einza Builds on Instagram. I mostly worked on some of the marketing, actually, so follow Reach, and then all our 23 lovely contributors on here, as well as our sponsors. I also worked, my section was the terraces here, so New Alexandria as a terrace-tiered city, really wanted to have that from beach to second level, third level, and all the way up, rather than like a stark, we have some stark walls, and then having the battlefield like almost cascade down onto the beach with the vehicles. And I also worked on some of the sticker prints for the city, and as like the logo of the city has that terraced feature. Yeah,
I also really like how you incorporated kind of the natural greenery into the base of the terrace there and merging those styles up.
Yeah, joining everyone's sections together was definitely a collaborative big effort, but it all worked out perfectly, and I'll pass it off to our next builder, Nolan here.
Okay.
Or Vim.
Hey, my name's Vim. Mainly worked on the beach section right here, doing the rock work and the landscaping and a lot of the water. Helped get the Crash Pelican into place over there. But basically, yeah, we worked with the gradients we did like a black plates, then we worked into navy blue, then we do sand blue and white to get the outline of that base work. Then we just kind of tiled it off, staggering. A lot of manpower, a lot of time went into it. The same formations when we were doing this beachhead island right here, one of the playable sections. When it came to the actual landscape in itself, we worked a lot with the olive green, and we did a lot with the forest green as well to try to kind of blend in those colors and bring in the natural work. One of my favorite things, though, is the rock work right over here. One of my favorite things about this rock is that it's completely upside down and then inverted halfway through. One of my favorites. But yeah, when we came over here, we got the turret that has been built, and then we got the two octagonal sections right here. Basically, Covenant's taken over this whole area, and we were able to get Peter's build over here with the Pelican as well. Falcon. So yeah.
It's very impressive, especially the different depths of the water and just the contrast that adds is really nice.
Yeah, a lot of depth went into it, and it adds a lot of character into it, in my opinion.
Fantastic work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nolan. I go by History Builder on the internet, and I'm here to talk about my sections and also some other sections. So the first section we're going to talk about is Ian Miscellaneous Builds, who's not here right now. And he built this gorgeous skyscraper with the landing pad. You got some smoke coming out of it. A lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun lighting these. I think other people have talked about it, but what's going on in here is you got basically a light bar and then paper to diffuse the light, so you get a really, really nice soft light. And his section flows right into my section, which is this corner section here that has the scythe on it. This was a lot of fun to put together. Really fun. If people have talked about it, working with everybody, getting the levels all smoothed out. And the scythe was designed to be motorized. It has a piston in there designed by Chloe. Perfect design. We hooked it up. I forgot about the RPMs, shook itself apart. It's kind of unfortunate. Everybody was super excited to see it, but still got it lit up. Really proud of some of my part usage there. If you can see, I used some of the skateboard ramps to get the curvature of New Alexandria, and that's a lot of. Sometimes it's hard, and it's fun being able to use those large pieces. Last section I want to talk about is the Pelican carrier that we crashed in the sea. This is built by SI Mox, and had it lying around. We had a little bit of dead space, and we wanted to do something fun, and so I worked on all the water splashes on site, just a bag of a few thousand 1x2s in Transclear and just stacking them for like an hour or two to get all the effects, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a great sense of action there as all of these crashes and things are happening. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we'll bring our next builder in then. Here we go.
All right, I'm Simon Liu, or Cymox. This is my space elevator. So when Ben started crafting this idea, he was like, well, we need something really big, tall, and gray, so let's get Simon. Though Ben specifically did not tell me how tall he was going to make his, so that he would continue to be the tallest build, because he lost last time to German Simon in New Hiroshima. But it's a fairly simple build. The idea is that there is a monorail station, as well as some industrial areas, as well as commercial, where everyone is evacuating up the space elevator. And then there's also a giant spaceport, which we're going to have Mike talk about. And then I'll talk about the monorail station in a bit.
I'm Mike Higgins. I did the landing pad here, and then the approach lights kind of leading up to it. And then the spaceship on top was designed by Alec. It's one of the egret space liners from the game, and he did a fantastic job with it. And I basically tried to design the landing pad around, making it look like it's appropriate for it. So in the game, the landing pad just has a little box shape, so we tried to give it the shape of the ship to make sure it looked like it was designed for it. And then, yeah, we've got kind of floodlights for it, some containers that are designed to kind of look like they were part of the egret space liner as well, and then more of the creatures made by Sam and some of the other guys to create an awesome little battle sequence there that looks fantastic. And yeah, that's kind of the big thing here, and then it kind of leads into Simon's transportation hub at the end, so that's where we got the doorways and stuff. And yeah.
What are some of the kind of more subtle details you included here in terms of those designs and things there that kind of add some extra detail? It's not just all gray.
Try to go with the chevrons for the landing pads. Underneath where the cargo containers are is number 3 for this is the third pad for landing. I'm imagining if there was a control tower, you'd say hey, pad number 3, things like that. The approach lights are designed similar to how you see them in the game, and they're flashing like they would for, if you were coming into an airport or anything like that, you'd see those type of lights to guide you in. So those are trying to line up with the 2 different pads. And then we've got a little walkway going to the number 1 entrance into the transportation center. So we've got that as well to add a little bit of detail there. So.
Excellent work. Thank you. We'll come back over to Simon now.
So this leads now into the transportation hub area. And what's kind of fun is that where I'm using transparent opal panels, which aren't as clear as regular windows and such. Versus some of our friends, they're using a tissue paper or something to diffuse the light. They're actually naturally semi-apparent. So it's very easy to set up a light, shine it, and have the silhouette on it. So the lower section is kind of like the more of the spaceport where they're getting off the plane or getting on the plane, and you have multiple gates for Mike's landing pad. And on top there is a whole monorail station where they're trying to evacuate into that space elevator and kind of get away from the carnage that is happening up above.
No, I love all the action on top there, and then got the monorail part. So is the monorail motorized or?
The monorail is not motorized.
Okay.
I have had a motorized train into my layout before, and after that I'm like, no, it's going to be static. Yeah.
Once was enough.
Once was enough, yes.
Great work, Simon, as always. Thank you.
Hey there. My name is Ben. I go by Ben Brickson online. I was one of the lead coordinators on this collab. And then following Simon's section here, we get more into some of the inner city area. We got some industry going on behind here, inside the skyscrapers. But kind of before we get down low into these darker bits, we can kind of talk about the tower next to Simon's area. One of the main themes you guys have seen throughout this collab is kind of a larger, pristine city, what once was, and now it's obviously been bombarded. There's fire, explosions, all sorts of things going on. So to capture some of the fire, we've got a lot of trans yellow, trans orange, up into the trans brown, and then trans black smoke. So you get this kind of nice gradient, and then with the brick stuff, flicker lights, kind of this soft flicker effect kind of through these towers. To kind of capture that, you see the difference beyond the actual blue building there. You've got this orange tissue paper stuffed behind that, where the main windows, kind of like Simon mentioned, are of a blue tissue paper instead. So it gives a bit more kind of depth in there. Just kind of shows more of the destruction, decay, everything that's kind of going on in the larger city here. Kind of following that, now we can get down more into some of the industry, some of the depths of New Alexandria. Obviously, with this being a much larger futuristic city, rather than there being kind of a massive power generator cores, individual stuff like that, A lot of it's built on energy and obviously transportation. So you can kind of see this different rail line coming through with cargo containers coming out of the space elevator. Now obviously the rail line's been blown up, crashed by a destroyed Pelican, but they're moving, flowing through the system as we'll get later into a crane. Above that you kind of see different ODST figures. They're jumping across these different platforms. In the game you got a nice line of, here come the bullfrogs. As these guys come through, take out different Covenant on the platform, move through it to get over to Traxxas Tower. Going back to these ODSTs for a moment, Brick Warriors and Eclipse Graphics were kind enough to sponsor this collab heavily. So they've got some very new custom armor that you kind of see, shoulder pads, printed helmets, jetpacks, all this kind of cool stuff, specifically for this soldier type. And then there's some others we'll take a look at later on here in the collab. Brick Stuff was able to provide a lot of wires, and we used a lot of their different effects. So you've got flickering in different rooms, the flashing of sirens, and then the different brightness of explosions also, just to kind of show all the colorful chaos in here. It's largely a white, gray, more monotone type of a city. With all those pops of color, it helps bring it to life a lot more than it just would otherwise. Now, as we kind of move through this rail line, we're seeing obviously these explosions track on, different banshees, the kind of purple fires come down, bomb these kind of platforms, blow up different areas as they're getting ready to invade Traxxas Tower and move through the city here. However, up on the plaza, we've got the main ship here. This is one you can't really miss. You can kind of see it from far away. Being the fall of New Alexandria, this is where New Alexandria really falls. That is called a Covenant's Corvette, and it's actually what's called glassing the city. So this massive plasma laser is coming down, turning the planet, eviscerating all life on it just into a glassland. Absolute wasteland in the Covenant's holy war for just purging out the world from what they consider undesirable kind of species, the lesser species, all that kind of stuff. To capture that at the base, we've got some trans pink glitter ferns, different translucent pink energy effects. And it's also, to help that kind of pink pop up, there's 30 feet of pink Christmas wire, or Christmas lights, kind of wrapped up this steel rod in here, up towards the ship. That gives you just a whole bunch of LEDs in there. Going back to kind of lighting, then we'll get to the ship. There's a lot of cool stuff going on there. There's tissue paper stuffed over those Christmas lights wrapped around. That helps diffuse the point lights a little bit. So you can kind of see some are closer to the others, while some you get more of a diffuse glow behind the brick that was then just slid down over the steel rod. All right, now we can take a step back, see this larger thing. We need to talk more about the kind of physics of this guy. So you're looking at this ship, obviously that beam is not centered and it's staying level enough. Don't put a level up there, but we're close enough, guys. Don't ask OSHA. Anyways, you've got a T-shaped kind of steel rod going through the ship, and that tracks down to the floor. So the ship is built in two halves, kind of this front dome half you see coming down to the right, a little more pointed, angled, while the left half you got more rounded, bulbous, open back thrusters, all that kind of stuff. Those two halves slide over each side of the T. Inside that you got 4 Technic axles that drop through to interlock those two halves. Then the larger wings track on there. Each of the wings in the ship, they use railroad track to actually create these kind of gradual, slower curves through there. And that gives you a bit of a different type of clutch because they're kind of clicking together as opposed to just the snapping of bricks. You kind of see from a side a natural bow of that. So it's a little more flat in the back connection, but then they kind of angle up in the front. And that's naturally just the gravity doing that, and it's stable enough so they won't fall. But obviously what needs to be really stable here is that ship itself. So that steel rod I mentioned, this would not be possible without that. That steel rod is 8 feet. It comes down beneath the table here. There is 50 pounds of weights on a little wooden platform. And that's kind of keeping it locked down, so it's not going to want to wobble as much. However, this table, you can't see it. There's an 8-foot table that continues here to this half of the side. There's a hole drilled in that. And that is so the rod will slip through that, then hits the weights. That helps with overturn of the ship, going back to the beam not being centered. So if this thing was centered, of course, would not be as much of an issue. But it's really wanting to fall towards my tower, the landing pad, that left side. Having that rod continue through the table, it helps counterbalance all that. So you've got Peter's massive and heavy Traxxas Tower, Tanner's Boardwalk section, and some more brick-built areas around that to really keep that all level. So
that's remarkable, and it looks incredible just hanging up there, kind of defying physics when you first look at it. So really, really incredible.
Oh, well, thank you guys. I appreciate it quite a bit. That little thing. That ship was built over the course of 4 days, actually.
Wow.
It was a really fast build to get that guy done, propped up and lifted. And you're only building the bottom of it. You do not need to build the top, since obviously you're not looking up at it. And it's viewed from beneath it, kind of like how you're seeing that thing. You just see the bottom detail, that glassing laser come down, really start obliterating the city here.
Fantastic work. Thank you so much for taking us through all of that, and so many great little details in here to pick out among all the action and everything and the different levels. So it looks really nice.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. We'll pass it off to our next builder here.
Okay.
Hey again, Peter Spartan Bricks. As Ben talked about, the industry section kind of leads up to this massive tower here. It's called Traxxas Tower. Traxxas in the Halo universe is like a heavy industry corporation. They provide a lot of, they build a lot of stuff for the UNSC, the United Nations Space Command. And so this tower is kind of their hub of operations here on the planet Reach. And in the game, the Traxxas Tower becomes kind of this hub of evacuation for civilians, mainly because of its big landing pad here. So you can see the Falcon operating on the landing pad. There's civilians on the other side evacuating into this Falcon, and hopefully more to come soon as well. But this is one of the last little bits of hope for the UNSC in this sector of the city, as they're trying to evacuate out, escape the impending Covenant bombardment. And so my section kind of begins with the industry section there. There's a big ducted fan that's rotating in the corner there. There's a little forklift, which is an integral asset from the Halo Reach games. Everyone loves the forklift. The operator there is trying to have a one-on-one with the Covenant brute there, and probably going to win. We'll see exactly what happens, but it's probably an even split in that match there. There's industry workers, the Traxxas employees that are fighting back, just like in Ben's section. But the Covenant's starting to push into the ground floor of Traxxas. There's ODSTs, these orbital drop shop troopers, defending it, as well as UNSC Army troopers and some Spartans around as well. So as we move up onto the landing pad, we've got the nice beacons that are pulsing here, Covenant explosions happening around the evacuation transport, and of course the Falcon spinning as well as it gets ready to evacuate some of those civilians. As we're talking about the figures up here, I wanted to also just mention, Ben talked about the ODSTs, but from our awesome sponsor, Eclipse Graphics and Brick Warriors, they printed a whole bunch of new Marines, technically in the game, UNSC Army troopers, but we like to call them Marines. And they've just got some awesome new prints. We've got the injection molded new helmets and accessories, armor pieces for them too, come in some different colors. And so they're just available through Brick Warriors, Eclipse Graphics. We just wanted to promote them. Did some awesome work in helping us make this collab come to life.
Incredible level of detail there, and shout out to the Covenant. They claimed a tree,
They
so
sure
we've lost another part of the city.
Not another tree to the Covenant. So moving up into the tower a little bit more of the main structure here. It's used, the structure of the entire tower is using New Hashima standard, so how we used to build cubes, just using the same kind of rigid structure in there so I can pick it up and separate it into the 3 major sections. The whole thing sits 72 inches, so 6 feet exactly tall. It's taller than me, but not taller than some other guys. But it reaches up. It's one of the tallest towers in the game, so I just wanted to emulate that with having a nice big prominent landmark in the cityscape. But as you can see, even this imposing tower is still under fire from the Covenant, so it can't even escape its impending doom there. Move on quickly to this side. We'll talk about some of the interiors on the bottom side of Traxxas Tower. One notable interior is this little laundromat, kind of laundry room at the bowels of Traxxas Tower. There's some grunts invading here with Plasma Grunt with his grenades and some civilians evacuating. This is a core component of the game when you're kind of infiltrating the tower. So I just wanted to capture the gritty, kind of horror-esque scene there with the flashing lights, the red beacon, and the blood on the walls and such. Just some fun details in there. Moving up here, we've got just another interior section with some more fleeing civilians, Covenant bringing a bomb into the room, and some cool just wall panels that you kind of see these panels throughout New Alexandria. So I wanted to have some screens there to emulate that kind of clean look with also some explosions. That was just kind of an overarching aesthetic for the build, was to have clean architecture interspersed with the destruction that's happening around. And quickly on this side of the tower, we've just got more civilians evacuating from Tanner's Boardwalk section, going up into the main door here to the tower, and hopefully secure their spot on one of the last transports out of the city.
Oh, incredible work here. The tower and all the action around it looks really amazing, and the different rooms and levels in it are fantastic. So thank you so much.
Of course. We'll move on to the Boardwalk section next with Tanner, Detroitica.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Tanner Detroitica on Instagram, and I recreated the multiplayer map Boardwalk. So I made this for the fans of Halo who remember playing SWAT here, who remember playing Infection on this map. Shout out to our intern Joseph, who helped, and to Anthony, the designer of this map, who also is a bit of a FOL. So I created specific parts just to nail that kind of look that people remember from the multiplayer map, the ramp, the trees, and everything. I've got a reference photo right here of all these curves and things, and then the real thing. Hopefully that looks all right. So recreating architecture was fun. Wonderful to work with this talented set of people. I even have the sniper up here where the sniper spawns in the multiplayer map. So hopefully people can enjoy that.
Just the posing is difficult, but there you go.
Oh yeah, there we are.
What are some of your other favorite kind of more subtle details that might be overlooked here?
So this map with the pond up there with the nice rocks, it transitions down to a Hungarian cafe, which is inspired by the Skyway Cafe, which is in the rear corner of the map. I had to cut it out, but instead I turned it into this lit up interior of a cafe serving Hungarian chimney cakes. Hopefully it's a fun little part of the build that helps tie in some culture. I cascade down to meet my friend Riley, who started this thing. We go on to some landscape on the inside. And we've got a couple MOAs there, which are those birds that run around in Halo Reach. The water gradient was a fun design to go from black, dark blue, sand blue to white. Thank you very much to Tyler, Rando Builds, who assembled many of these water tiles for us. We also have the tile parts themselves, these 1x2s. They aren't pressed down all the way, and they're kind of arranged in waves. So when you look at it from a distance, it makes this kind of glittering water effect that we hope works well. The last thing I'd like to mention is at the side of my build, very often people will do a dark bluish gray rock, but I made these banded as though they're sedimentary layers which then metamorphosized into rock. So when you go at a low angle, the silver parts kind of shine a little bit. It's a dark titanium metallic color I used, and I hope it kind of pushes the boundaries for rocks. And maybe the last part is if you go at a low angle under the bridge, the entire underside of the bridge is tiled. I thought the tables would be a little higher. And hopefully our young audience members were able to view the lit up section and really enjoy the view of this whole collab. So I'm very happy to have been part of this, and thank you for featuring us.
Yeah, really incredible work there. I love all the fun details, so thank you.
Thanks so much.
We'll come back over here to Ben. Actually, okay. Our next builder, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Joseph. I'm one of the contributors. So my portion, I got added on a bit late in the process. So a lot of the extensive planning had been done, and we had this center courtyard area between the skyscrapers. And we were looking at some of the reference materials and places on the mission maps that hadn't been replicated yet, and we found these food court areas that were scattered throughout. So that is what I decided my contribution would be. It's meant to serve as kind of a failed evacuation rally point, so we can see that we have some civilians fleeing as the Covenant makes their way towards them. It was a fun contribution, getting the rounded shape of the structures and getting the lighting incorporated. It was a good time.
Yeah, glad you could join. You know, they came to you last. They really wanted to save the best for last and be like, this is the finishing touch the build needs.
Oh, yeah. They really needed that. And I can't see the viewfinder, but I think it should be in the shot right now. We do have a MOA, one of the birds visiting Alexandria. We have a few scattered about the map, so if a keen-eyed viewer is able to find all of them, that'd be pretty cool. They're all over the place. See if you can find them all.
Perfect. Good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
And before we close, Ben wraps us up. I'd just like to introduce our sponsor himself, Victor, Eclipse Graphics, Bricks Warriors. He was just going to say a couple words about the collab.
Yes.
I have a couple of words to say. I didn't realize that. No, it was a pleasure to actually sponsor these guys. They said that our minifigures brought everything to life, but I don't know. For me, I don't even see the minifigures. I see the display, the mock, the artistry behind the bricks, beyond the bricks.
It's a combination of everything that really makes a very nice cohesive display.
Yeah, but I personally love the. If you zoom in, maybe you see the minifigures. I just see all the artwork behind all the figures, like the explosions, the ships. Everything's just so awesome, and it's always fun to collaborate with these guys because it's more than just building. They get on weekly calls and they just hang out. It's a fun display, a fun theme to sponsor.
Yeah. Well, great work as always, Victor. Your customs, all the different little details that you help add into these builds are amazing. So thank you for your contribution.
That all brought to you by Skyscrapers.
Absolutely. Keep up the good work.
Just like the massive helping hand that Victor was for making this project come to life, I'd like to give a special thank you to all the 23 collaborators and more behind me for really making this project come together. Each of these guys worked immensely hard for getting this project together. Lots of long hours, lots of detail, lots of stress, focus here for the build. And it means the world to me that these guys are willing to come together and help create a massive project, something like this. Yeah. So thank you very much to all the contributors of New Alexandria.
For sure. Fantastic work to everyone involved here. Now, one final question. Obviously, we're at Brickworld Chicago here. Incredible display. For people who couldn't make it to Brickworld, will this see another life at other shows in the future, do you think?
Bricks in the Six? Bricks in the
Simon liked to go to Bricks in the Six. We're not so sure. We're going to see.
Okay. So maybe a Canadian appearance in the future. We'll see.
Maybe a Canadian appearance. That's correct.
Okay. Thank you once again to you and all of the builders. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate the time.